Yes, so I'm Margaret Azagidi, a national service personnel of the Department of Earth Science. So I'm here with the researchers and the principal investigator of the project. So they'll just introduce themselves and we'll go ahead with the questions.
Yeah, my name is Samuel Nyarko. I'm an assistant professor at Indiana University, Indianapolis.
So I'm Dorcas Atibilla, a research fellow in Kintampo Health Research.
And I am Professor Yvonne Law of the Department of Earth Science, University of Ghana.
And I'm Dr. Millicent Addai. I'm with Geography Education Department, University of Education, Winneba.
I'm Dr. Agyekum from Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, Water Research Institute here in Accra.
Okay, I'm Dr. Jude, Kwaku Bonsu. I'm from the Department of Chemical Engineering, KNUST.
Yeah, so this was born out from a series of research projects we've been doing in the last 5 years, looking at how students, teachers in Ghana understand climate change, their knowledge about climate change and its impact on our environment. And so from those studies, we came to realize that majority of teachers in Ghana, although they have some really accurate knowledge about climate change, they also have a lot of knowledge gaps when it comes to climate change and other environmental concepts. So we came together, myself and Professor Lowe and Dr. Bonsu came together, and then we wrote a proposal to train teachers about how to teach climate change effectively to their students and innovative ways of teaching earth system and climate concepts in their classrooms. And so when we started a project, we saw that we needed a very local kind of context for what we were doing. So we brought on some really good experts in Dr. Millicent Addai, who is an expert in hydro and geoscience education, and then Ms. Dorcas Atibilla, who is also an expert in health, and then Dr. Agyekum, who is a climate science expert, and then Dr. Jude Bonsu, who is also a chemical engineer and very good when it comes to atmospheric science, and then Mr. Mohammed Saddik, who is our local education consultant. He works with the Ghana Education Service. So we brought this team together and put together a very locally made Ghanaian content for climate change lessons.
Was there any specification for the choice of researchers?
We were looking for experts. This is a very broad area. When you talk about climate change, you're talking about a very broad field, right? So we had to bring in all these people. And remember, our project also encompasses climate impact on health. So we had to bring in a health expert. And obviously, if we are working with teachers and we are developing curriculum, we have to have people from the education service and geoscience experts. So that's why we brought all these people together.
Do you think that this 3-day workshop has been impactful?
Well, listening to, putting my ears down and listening to the participants, I believe they've taken a lot from the workshop. On the first day, people started talking about how they've not even heard about climate variability, but they are learning about it now. People talking about how this has given them ideas to use, some of the case studies in their lessons. And I think the most impactful one is, they now have the local context, local examples that they can use. If you look at our textbooks and other resources that we use, they mostly are, Western examples and Western context. So we believe they've picked, the local challenges when it comes to climate change and its health impact, which I think it's one of the most important things we wanted them to get away from this.
So what do you think that would come out from this project for Ghana? This project in Ghana?
Yeah, teachers who have accurate and very strong knowledge when it comes to climate change, and then teachers who can effectively teach climate change to their students, and then having students who are well trained in climate change and thinking about mitigation practices that they will be using. So I think it's going to be really important for Ghana and Ghanaian students in terms of climate change knowledge. I tell you what, climate change knowledge gaps is very global, right? A lot of countries country. Research done almost everywhere in this in the world shows that students, teachers, and even professors have knowledge gaps when it comes to climate change. So it's a really good start for Ghana that we've started from the bottom, where we are training teachers who then take this into their classrooms. And we did not just train any teacher. We train very broad range of teachers from basic school right up to the tertiary level. So we think it's going to be really impactful.
Prof. Nyarko said when we came together to do this design, we had to look into the various facets of it to make sure that at the end of it, participants are able to get a better knowledge about the content from which we are teaching. We looked at health aspects too. And so, for instance, when it comes to flooding, a lot of health issues actually arise. And we try to explain to them the cycle of most of these vector-borne diseases as a result of flooding and then other issues that may emanate from it. And so some of these things we try to use it with examples from local content to let them understand the need for them to be able to explain these things when they are teaching students so that they'll be able to get the best out of it. Yeah.
Okay, so indeed I am particularly passionate about geoscience education. So when Professor Nyarko, we had a discussion and we conceived this idea. I said it would be good to send these to our teachers so that the right things can be communicated. And this formidable team that we have, he has already spoken about, sat down and carefully curated whatever thing we discussed within this 3 days. So you realize that the teachings or the discussions focused on the science behind climate change, and then also looked at the causes of it and the effect. The discussion, even though it is climate change and health, was broadened to look at the earth systems. Okay, so how each of these affect or interact and affect each and the human being. Okay, so we use case studies, okay, to make it very effective. And so it's not anything we just sat down to hit our head and write, but carefully chosen participants, very, very carefully done to cut across the whole nation. And you can see it from what we have done so far. You even find midwives here. The effect of climate on their profession was brought to bear. So it is very, very important, and we hope that this would not only end here, but would also continue in the near future and probably engage government on a broader conversation scale to inculcate this in our curricula. Very important to us.
All right, I would want to talk about how the team that was put together worked tirelessly to bring a very localized curricula to be used for the discussions of climate change in our local settings. Many a times, some of these examples and the concept that we know or we see are from elsewhere. So the student teachers, the in-service teachers, the student teachers are not even able to grasp it themselves for them to be able to explain it to the students. So we have done a customized one to fit into our system. We went through rigorous 13 weeks of meeting every other week to discuss, and then as we have already said, the team of experts on the team, we all came together, brainstormed, look at work that others have done in this area, and then we came up to. And then the participants that came are really happy. Many of them said they had some misconceptions even about what brings about climate change, but as they are going home, they now know what exactly causes climate change, and they now are equipped with tools. They will be able to explain in simpler terms to the learners for them to be able to understand. And we are doing all these things so that there is going to be a shift in the knowledge and then also understanding of what is happening on the global scale and also on the local scale, and then how the impact will affect us, and then some mitigation ideas that if you are in a flood prone area as a student, what are the things that you need to do, what are the things you need to tell your parents so that they will be better prepared for some of the impact of climate change that we have.
Okay, as a climate scientist interested in the impact of climate on health, on water resources and agri, as when the call came to contribute to this workshop, it was actually glad for me. Then we came to the workshop hoping to impact. I want to talk about how we as scientists have also learned from teachers who are handling JHS, primary, and then the university. They go through a lot of planning to get what the student need to actually get from the lecture. So to contribute to that, we have taken teachers through the basis of climate, the science part, how it is connected with health, and then how climate is impacting health. Then again, they would go to their classroom and then also impart that knowledge onto the kids. We believe that kids, if they grasp this knowledge at the early stage, would go away to spread and then impact society. So this was a learning opportunity also for me as a scientist to see how teachers are integrating such knowledge into learning practices in classes on the field, and then also impacting the next generation of scientists. So this has been very interesting for me and a very good platform for me to also learn as a scientist. All right.
Thank you. Okay, so no, I really enjoyed working with the team, amazing personalities. So when I was reflecting, I'm a teacher of chemical engineers, and they are the ones that design these factories, and the factories are one of the main culprits to this climate change. So I think Gandhi was one who said, "Be the change you want to see." When I go back in my questions that I give to the students and staff, I'll try and infuse some of these climate change ideas into the teaching of the things I do at the university. So no, I'm so happy to have this experience. I enjoyed working with everyone, the teachers, the co-facilitators, and the participants.
Thank you. I'm Mohammed Saddik, the education expert on this project and the curriculum developer. Now, my experience as a curriculum developer spanned from the primary level to the senior high level. So when the project came into being, I looked at how we can incorporate all the concepts we teach, right from the basic level to the senior high level. So that was my duty to ensure that we bring out all the things we teach from the primary level, junior high, senior high level on climate change. Now the good news for us in education is that we've gone through a lot of learning journey. And we've learned a lot of things. One, we've seen how we can develop case study scenarios. And now when you look at the modern trend of teaching, case study is one of the major pedagogical strategies we use, scenarios and all that. And for us, again, we can use case study as an assessment tool or scenario as an assessment tool. We can also use case study scenario as what? Pedagogical strategy. That will help, teachers again, help our teachers, and also help our learners at the basic level. Then the last one is that creation of awareness. When it comes to climate change, as mentioned earlier, our knowledge gap is very, we do not have enough knowledge or enough ideas as to how we can really, teach climate change concept for our learners to understand better. So from here, our teachers will go back, they will integrate all that they have learned into their teaching and learning, planning and other things, and then also create awareness among our students so that they also carry same information to the parents and wherever they find themselves. We believe that knowledge application should be everyday affair. Thank you.
Yes, so moving on to some of the participants of the workshop, would like you to introduce yourself and let us know your experience, what you are taking home from this workshop.
Okay, so my name is William Conlan. I'm an MPhil student at the University of Education, Winneba, and my background lies in geography, and I'm interested in landscape ecology. So upon hearing this workshop and even coming, I was more interested in the climate change aspect as to how it affects the ecology, which our lives are directly interconnected. I initially downplayed the side of the health until the beginning of the workshop. Then I realized, even though I had knowledge of how climate change is related to health, but it wasn't of much concern to me until some of the issues were exposed during the discussions. And I really appreciate this opportunity because from the beginning, we were made to understand the concept of climate change and everything about it before we proceeded or we zoomed into the health aspect. And one or the aspect that was interesting to me was the case studies, looking at how flooding cases in the northern part of Ghana whenever the Bagri Dam is open. And my background and interest in GIS, how we model flood, it was so interesting to see how the change in climate change coupled with these dam opening that is causing the flooding affects lives of people around there. And also zooming into the Keita, how high sea level rise and then tidal waves are affecting their lives. And it's all linked to the health. So this education is very important. I think moving forward, I'll try and then wherever I get the opportunity to also share my view on that, whether in classroom or wherever I find myself, I will have some interesting and then exciting way to also share my aspect.
My name is Pearl Audo and I am a participant on this training. I was so excited when I saw the call and I applied and hopefully I was selected. It was amazing to meet with people with knowledge on climate change and also look at how climate change is affecting our various lives. The most important thing is training those who are training our future leaders, that is the teachers. Teachers need to have the expert knowledge in climate change and transfer this knowledge to our future leaders. I was excited about the case studies, and teachers are going to take this into the classroom for the students to know how climate change affects our life and what they as students can do now, since they are the future of the world, what they can do to limit all the effects that climate change would cause us. It was an amazing experience and I enjoyed the people I met, the knowledge that was shared. As an advocacy person interested in climate change, this is a good platform that I would recommend for everyone who sees the course another time and also join to learn more. It was educative, interactive, and also mind-blowing for me, and I really enjoyed this. I also like to appreciate the organizers. They did very well putting everything together.